About a week ago, speculation swirled around a collaborative project between Ubisoft and Nintendo, which would merge two of their staple trademarks, Super Mario and the Rabbids series, into a crossover title. According to the data miner, Laura Tate Dale, who initially released the information regarding this prototypic game, the title would feature elements from Mario Party and Fire Emblem-style RPG gameplay. Although the game has yet to be officially confirmed by either Nintendo or Ubisoft, the aforementioned leaker has had an astonishing track record of predicting unannounced titles before they're officially confirmed or released. So although the game's existence is still uncorroborated by its respective developers, we can be reasonably confident that this game will be announced soon. With that said, I have a lot of mixed feelings about this title as someone who has played a Rabbid game, a single Rabbid game, and who has played many Mario titles. It seems as though it's a forced marriage, one that doesn't strike me as the most natural or the most significant or even the most fun. I really fail to see how the crossover title would be something that would really strike me as a game that I would actively seek out, or that I would actively think would be something that Nintendo should be developing. But perhaps you disagree, Fishchamp?
Well, I think I partly agree in that, well, first of all, just as a disclaimer, I have no personal experience with the Rabbids series, although being the good, diligent researcher that I am, I looked up information on this rumor as well as just the Rabbids series in general before recording this. So I do know that it's one of Ubisoft's more popular IPs. In fact, it started as a Rayman series spinoff, and then it became even more popular than the original series itself. So I partly agree in that I don't think this crossover was really something anybody asked for, or is it really something that's gonna, I don't know how I put this, like, is it really gonna augment Mario all that much? Not really. I don't think Nintendo gains much from this. I think that Ubisoft gains exposure for Rabbids, really. They get the better end of this deal. But I think what Nintendo partly gets out of this is more third-party support. I mean, because all the memes and all the things about, the Wii U not being able to get any third-party support aside from Ubisoft, well, the Switch is upending that. They're getting a ton of third-party support, a lot more than the Wii U ever did, just out the gate. And so this crossover title, while it might not be something that you and I are necessarily specifically interested in, it shows that the Nintendo Ubisoft partnership is still strong, which is overall good for Nintendo's sales and Ubisoft sales as well. And I mean, you can't deny that Rabbids is a very popular series. Like, they were the Minions before the Minions became a thing, right? Like, it's a series which has a niche appeal. Just from my limited exposure, it doesn't really seem like something that really appeals to me. But, I mean, depending on how good the game itself is, this could be a home run overall.
Indeed. The only thing that I would say would be against what you just mentioned, because I do agree that the main benefit to be yielded from this will be yielded by Ubisoft. But I would furthermore point out that the Rayman series is actually one of the very few third-party support that Nintendo got for the Wii U. Like, there was a Rayman game that got released for the Wii U.
Yeah.
And according to my recollection, it actually was quite successful. So I actually don't tend to think that this is going to be oriented around this is not intended to orient or engender more third-party support, because obviously it didn't work for the Wii U. If they were trying to use Ubisoft as an example, saying, here, you can use our system because Ubisoft did it, there's nothing unique in that because they did it for the Wii U. They did it for the Wii. I'm not sure about the GameCube, but I know for the Wii and the Wii U that they both were represented there. The thing with me is that the Rabbids series, although it does have a niche community that does enjoy it, and that community may actually be something of, it's more of a childish game, I know that. Not to say that it's not a game that others can enjoy, but I'm saying that it's mainly targeted towards children.
Yeah, it's geared towards a younger audience, definitely.
Yeah. And the thing about that is that I'm not really certain that it's going to mold well with the Mario Brothers series, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm the only one here that's actually played a Rabbids game, And what I can tell you about it is that the game that I played, and already I just went and looked at it in my collection, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was a Rabbids game that was released on the Wii. I remember getting it at GameStop for $2, which showed that the value retention was obviously in down the tank, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But the game itself, I remember nothing more about it other than that it was absolutely horrific, and it was a terrible, 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 terrible game in every respect. And I'm not saying that all the other games are going to be like that, but what I am saying is that it is in a lot of ways, or at least in my mind, something, you know, that Nintendo should be steering away from, because let's be honest, Ubisoft's record of game development is not the most pristine, right? A lot of games that Ubisoft has released.
I remember, sorry to interrupt, but I just remembering bringing back to mind, I forget what E3 it was. I think it was, I want to say 2015. I'm not entirely sure on that though, but Ubisoft did. Have you seen, I think it was the 2015 E3. Did you see Ubisoft's E3 2015 presentation? Like,
No.
If there was a clear loser of E3, it was Ubisoft. Like,
Indeed.
Hands down. It was sad. It was pathetic. I mean, again, I don't think either you or I are trying to diss Ubisoft as a
no.
publisher as a whole, but we're just saying that not all of their games are standout, really high quality, and they're not known for making the most high quality games. I mean, They make the Just Dance games, and we know just how casual of a market those are being made for, right?
Oh, yes.
You know,
yes.
So like all we're saying is that this might not interest the people that are really going to get a Switch, or who are really might be interested in one. It's going to be kind of a little throwaway title or kids game that, you know, it might make some sales here and there. But I mean, is it really something that we want? Is it really something anybody really wanted? And is it going to be a good meshing? I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah. Well, the thing for me is that I think that this, like, I'm not innately opposed to this title being released. In fact, I can actually see some potential of having actually a good amount of fun. The thing that disconcerts me about it is that Nintendo is so I actually see a parallel for a 3DS game that was released not too long ago. It was the 3DS game. Unfortunately, the name escapes me again, but it was a Super Mario Brothers game that was tied to like the dragon puzzle sort of.
Oh yeah. I remember that one.
What was it called?
About. I don't know what it's called though. It was like Mario X.
Yeah,
something like that.
I'll put a picture of it up in the video. But basically, it to me, it's like, why would Nintendo tie their namesake IP to a title or to a franchise that is of such lesser quality, right? So one of the matchups that I could see potentially being rather congruous is a matchup for like something like WarioWare or something like that. WarioWare and Rabbids. I could see that as a potentially very coalescing matchup.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah. Like those two series would mesh very well, actually, because they're both really wacky out there. The one experience I had with a WarioWare game, it was just, I had no idea what was going on most of the time, but now I know a little bit more about it. But yeah, now that you mention it, that'd make a lot more sense.
It would, because they both have a niche audience that really enjoys them, and they both have, you know, that they both have a similar atmosphere. But tying a game that's so, I will almost say iconoclastic in nature, which is the main Super Mario Brothers franchise, that is. The Nintendo's decision here, I would say, is somewhat tenuous. Of course, we are lacking a lot of the details of how this game is actually going to pan out, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And the thing is, like, if it was Rayman included, I could perhaps see that more, because the Rayman series is actually really, really good, and I have played Rayman, and I do really enjoy Rayman, and it's a lot of fun. But the Rabbids series, I don't know. It just feels like it feels
forced. It feels very forced, like you said in our little introduction.
Indeed.
Yeah. But anyway, I think just my parting thought on this is that it might be good, it might be a success, but we don't really know. Um, there could be other series that well, we know there's better series that would work better with a Mario mashup. But just a last word on the Mario and the Puzzle Dragon game or
That was
whatever.
it. That's the name. Yeah.
Yeah, Mario and Puzzle Dragon. That game, if I remember, was actually pretty well received, and it did sell quite a few copies.
Yeah.
So maybe Nintendo was kind of buoyed by that, and like, hey, we kind of threw Mario into a series that nobody really saw coming. So maybe we'll do it again with Rabbids. I don't know.
Perhaps. Yeah, and I, of course I am reserving judgment because I think that this has the potential to, as I said, be a rather fun game. It's just from the get-go, with the very few details that we have leaked from this data miner, it seems as though, as both you and I said, the marriage is somewhat forced.